Good morning and welcome back to our series on taking care of our youth. Today, let's look at a very important aspect of our responsibility. I would begin by pointing out a difference between human beings and machines. Why do I do that? Because in this age of machines, there is a danger that human beings will think of themselves as only superior machines. We are not better machines. We are not machines at all. We are completely different from the genre called machines. There are various differences, but I would only point out one difference, and that is, it is enough that machines are understood by others. Suppose you buy a car. You need to know how it operates. The car has no need to know how it works. The car has no way to know how it works. You wear a watch, the same principle. You use a mixie, same principle. No machine can know or need to know what it is or how it works. It is enough that others know what it is and how it works. This is what is common to the world of machines. When it comes to human beings, it's extremely important that we know who we are and therefore how we ought to work. However, those of us who know the history of philosophy and the history of ideas, we know that this has been the most important problem in human life. The one thing that human beings do not know is themselves. Greek philosophy began with an exhortation attributed to a god called Apollo. And that exhortation is, know thyself. Understand yourself. All of philosophy is, one way or another, an attempt to understand the human predicament, the human being, in terms of various processes. Likewise, spirituality is a tradition of understanding what a human being is and therefore can well be. Now, while philosophy is man-made wisdom, very valuable, man-made wisdom to help us understand who we are and what our destiny is, spirituality is what we call the inspired tradition, which means revealed tradition or God-inspired tradition of enabling us to understand who we are. Now, I will not go into spirituality and philosophy more than this at this point in time. In our present unit, in the next 4 or 5 minutes, what I would like us to do is to wake up to a particular beautiful aspect of this process of understanding oneself. So, at the beginning, we acknowledge that we don't know ourselves. Very often, we do not know what we are doing or why we are doing what we are doing. If you ask people why they are consuming alcohol, why they are smoking cigarettes, which can harm their lungs, why they are wasting time, which is not good for them, they will say, well, we don't know, but we are doing it. And in fact, a large number of things, for example, gossip, character assassination, playing petty politics, spreading hatred. You ask people, why are you doing it? They really do not know. Many, many things that we are very excited about are things that we do not know the reason for or the meaning of. And as young people, it's extremely important for us to separate such meaningless, self-wasteful activities so that our energies are not wasted over unhelpful things, superfluous, irrelevant things, but are focused on what makes long-term sense. And to be able to do that, we should always keep in mind who we are or what our destiny is. Now, when I was growing up, I did not know this very clearly, but I had some kind of a vague intuition that in spite of the very unpromising circumstances in which I found myself, there was a destiny that was great. So I began to actually look at the given situation or emerging situation, not only in terms of what it appeared to be, but how far that particular situation connected to my destiny and how far it would take me in attaining my destiny. Now, all this is not in a kind of clear, heavy theoretical sense that happens in life. This happens in a very light, subtle, intuitive fashion. Now, what we need to know at this stage is this, that the difficulty in knowing ourselves is to a large extent because of the process of our continuing growth. And why we need to know this, because otherwise we'll get frustrated. Now, you can have a certain understanding of yourself as a child, but understand yourself only as a child. You're not required to know yourself fully or understand your destiny in its totality when you are an infant. But when you grew from being a child to a teenager, a young person, you began to understand yourself not any longer as an infant or a child, but as a young adult. Now from there you will move on, you'll become an adult proper. Then you will understand yourself as an adult, and later on you will become a middle-aged person, and thereafter an old person. Then your understanding will change. So this is to be accepted, that we will never have a fixed understanding of ourselves, and it is very good that we don't have a fixed understanding, because if your understanding about yourself is fixed, what it means is that you are not growing at all. So it's like, for example, if you look at nature, there is a seed. Now you sow the seed sprouts. It becomes a seedling. Now you plant the seedling, it slowly grows and it becomes a mature plant. And then it begins to blossom. And then the blossom becomes another seed. So at each stage there is change, there is transformation, and together with this change, the understanding of itself, if the plant is able to understand itself, the understanding will change. It must change. So we are in this process of continuing change, but now this is the most important thing. In the midst of these continuous changes, there is something that is constant, something that doesn't change, and that is our destiny as a human being. Now that remains the same. Whether you are a 5-month-old baby or you are a 50-year-old man, your destiny remains the same. You are in the process of fulfilling or running away from your destiny. Therefore, in our life strategy, in the way we live from day to day, we need two things. And this is the most important thing I want to share with you. As we face each day's experiences, opportunities, and challenges, we must keep two things simultaneously in our mind. One is, what is the best that I can do in my present position, which is limited? I'm a teenager, I don't have all the experience, all the wisdom of the world, or I'm a young professional, recently into my career. So my experiences are limited, but there is still something that you can do in these contexts. There is, you can do the best under the circumstances. I think that's the way to put it. In whichever state you are, you can still do your best with respect to that particular stage in your life. Now, in order to do your best in the given circumstance, you must have a seeking mind. Now, human beings usually act and react in terms of their impulses and instincts. Now, for example, somebody provokes you, somebody says something casual and you get offended and you fly off the handle. Now, that's not the only way to react. In that context, even if you are a teenager, you can stop and ask, look, do I have to react in this manner? Or can I also deal with the situation in a different way so that something of the greatness, something of who I am can be communicated to this person? Even as a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, you can do it. But you will do it only if you seek to do the best under the circumstances. Now the question is, and that's the second part of it. So first is to keep your eyes focused not only on the nitty-gritty of the given situation, but also to ask what is the best I can do under these circumstances. That's the one thing. The second thing is that you will not ask this question, what is the best I can do under the circumstances, unless and until you keep your mind also connected to something far above you. And that is where spirituality comes in. You know, we live not just as isolated individuals, we also live as individuals placed within a long and continuous tradition. Spiritual traditions are 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years old. So over this long period of time, the accumulated experiences of the members of our species have created for us a world of light. And even as a little child, even as a little person or a teenager, you're able actually to take advantage of it. Now, you may not understand everything fully, but you can still understand something, as I did. I'm saying this from my experience. So there is a great advantage to be derived from becoming aware of or staying aware of this great light that has been coming from the Ancient of Days and continually illumining human life. That light is available to me, that light is available to you. So to be able to look at any given situation, not only in terms of what people are saying, not only in terms of what my instincts and impulses are dictating, but also in light of this wonderful resource continually available to me. That is a great experience. But unfortunately, most people, especially when young, fail to do this. You don't have to fail in that respect. So this is why human beings are given spiritual traditions. Now, I'm not an advocate for religion. I have to say this to you very clearly. Every religion contains within itself a tremendous blaze of light. And that's what I call its spiritual core. And that light is always relevant. No matter how much humanity progresses, that light never becomes irrelevant, because that's the light of our humanity. So it's a tremendous resource to be used in specific contexts, provided we have this intuition of a very unique and valuable destiny, which we are continually fulfilling through every step that we take, every decision that we arrived at, through the do's and don'ts that we respect, through what I do and what I do not do. So this is a discipline that I have found immensely worthwhile practicing. When you face a situation, any situation in life, for example, suppose you are a student, you're going into a lecture room, that the professor is about to take a class. How do you view that situation? You can look at it only in terms of the examination, or you can look at it in terms of what the classroom is like. There are some young people who think that they have to entertain the classroom through mischief. Now, that's a very limited perception. You can also look at what's going to happen in the classroom in terms of your moving steadily towards a great destination that not only you, but eternity, destiny has designed for you. And that will give to your participation in the classroom transaction a meaning and a purpose that's incomparable. And I commend it to you. So 2 things. 1, do your best under the circumstances. Number 2, in order to do the best, also lift your imagination beyond the limited personal situation. Do not fail to derive advantage of the great spiritual light that continually flows into your life. And then when you put the 2 together, you're able to rise above the limitations of the given situation. That's how it is. Try it and see if it works. Thank you.